Since 2012, Mobile Art School has been running workshops and artist residency programs connecting artists, students and schools and other cultural producers in a shared educational and creative context that is always evolving. Founded by Jennie and Cleo Fagan, Mobile Art School is an art and education initiative aiming to expose and connect student audiences to the richness of national and international contemporary art. The following footage shows an open day celebratory exhibition event that took place in May 2014. It was organised by the students of St Catherine's National School in Rush, County Dublin and artist Rhona Byrne, following a 30-week residency programme called The Artist Days. The students invited the whole school and their parents to visit their sculpture garden and studio.
Hi, I'm Rhona Byrne and I'm at the Artist Days residency programme for Mobile Art School at St Catherine's Primary School. Today we had our open studio and the launch of our sculpture garden.
As Rhona worked with the students of St Catherine's National School, she continually questioned the difference between decorating a site or the studio versus making artwork or thinking through process. She reinforced a belief in prioritising the steps that formed part of an ongoing methodology that both she and the students of St Catherine's were exploring together. For example, she worked with the students exploring all aspects of the given site, drawing maps and making models of the studio and the sculpture garden, and experimented with ideas that might be actualised into formed shapes and actions. Rhona introduced her own work to the students alongside other contemporary artists' works, mostly giving a focus to installation art, land art and other performative works. A lot of the work she focused on helped the students to explore the garden adjacent to the studio as a site to be worked with and the potential of it becoming a sculpture garden for others to visit.
Throughout that, I really tried to focus on just being experimental with ideas and the generation of creative thinking and just being comfortable or confident with that process, and that there's no right or wrong or less focus on the craft of making things, but just more about experimenting and failing and making and remaking. Experimenting with ideas and concepts and then putting them somewhere, so it might have been into a notebook that they'd made. We played with just using materials from the garden itself and made different kind of land art and formative intervention that we later took to the playground here.
The students continually collaborated with Rhona to investigate their school as a site for artistic production. In this image, the students are taking part in a silent walk around the school's grounds, looking through special magnifying glasses that distort their vision. Midway through the residency, the students were given access to a disused part of the school's grounds to transform into an outdoor studio, which they could use to realise different forms than what they were working on inside. They covered themes of it being a sculpture garden, a threshold space that they could go in and out of, or a site for land art.
Hi, this is the sculpture garden. This is situated right beside the studio space. We discovered this site right beside it and thought it was such an amazing opportunity to work in the studio through some ideas, and then actually have a physical place then to try things out and work with materials and have a context to work within, so we could kind of work towards a show at the end. And today we had a sculpture garden kind of launch opening where there was loads of temporary artworks. Looked at shape and form and scale in relationship to the given space. What wildlife might live here, the different how many colours are in the space, and all the different materials and natural materials that were already here. What I wanted to do was talk about the process of exploring a site and being site responsive and making work in response to the context and site, thinking about the potential of what we could do in the garden. Taking our time to really kind of take it in, and the site in real detail, and thinking about all the senses.
Here you can see the older children of St Catherine's giving tours of their sculpture garden to the younger students during their open day exhibition event.
So I did a lot of projects where the kids worked together, so I think that the whole kind of dynamics of working within a group was really useful in this context. Most of the things made in the sculpture garden were made collectively. Everyone had a part to play in the making of them. Like the black voids were made out of paper mache over months and months.
Artist Rhona Byrne was commissioned to keep a weekly journal of observations throughout her residency. She noted the following: "The endeavour to construct the timber cube took many attempts, rescrewing the corners over and over. I encouraged the use of tools under supervision, which the children responded to really well. Trust in process and ability was encouraged throughout the project residency. Also working in teams and the negotiation of constructing something together was encouraged throughout." Rhona also noted the following in her journal: "Large black sphere sculptures were made over a 2-month period. All of the students had some input in the making of these, encouraging a sense of ownership for each student."
Before, we just did like small art lessons in class where we like paint little pictures, but the art studio, it's more creative and we can do like bigger projects.
We also looked a lot at inflatable structures, and again that was really about thinking about the space they were in and how the kind of volume of the sculpture might occupy the space, and how it changed the experience of that place.
When we were making the big inflatables, we actually had to use maths to figure out like the perimeter and how much we needed, how much space and how much of the material that we were using to make it, and then we had to like get the markers and the meter sticks and all and draw, so that it kind of tied in with maths as well.
The whole temporary kind of nature of the work was indicative of the whole way we worked in the studio, and it was about process and experimenting with materials. There was links like made between materials and ideas and throughout the 30 weeks, and basically I got my hands on all this like orange fabric, and then someone made the link between Christo's gates and Central Park. And then we decided to kind of make a version of that, but then combine that with other performative artists' works where they then became part of the work themselves, so combining kind of sculpture and performance.
As the overall project is evolutionary in its nature, project curators Jennie, Guy and Cleo Fagan thought it was really important to consistently check in with the artists, the students, teachers and also Principal Gerard Shea. From time to time, the students were asked for both written and verbal feedback.
The thing that I'm most proud of was we went outside, we went to the garden, we got loads of stuff, like materials, like sticks and that. So I found this tree at the corner of the garden, and I started putting loads of stones around it, and it looked like the tree was half wood, half stones.
If you're outside normally, you're like talking to your friends and you don't really notice like different sounds like the birds and the wind and the trees, and it was really nice because you could just hear everything around you.
I'm really like used to seeing just like paintings and drawings, but it's really original because like Andy Goldsworthy, he does like make sculptures out of like only materials that he would find in the nature, and like ice, he'd make like those sculptures out of ice and rocks.
If you came up with an idea, she wouldn't like say, like, if a teacher didn't like your idea and thought it was really bad, they would say, like, oh no, we would do something better. The way Rhona would just say, yeah, put it up, and then she could get one idea, another idea, and then tie them together and all.
School were fantastic to give us this opportunity to use this this as a site.
When Rhona came in, it was just more double the fun, because we weren't just sitting there and painting. It was more making stuff. Like, when people think of art, most of the time they think of paintings and drawings, but there's so much more to art.
Will you just tell them to listen to me?
I get twisted. I think that one is good. This one. I just fall now. You go with the spinner wheel first of all, Ella. Oh, I'm gonna do it. No, it's Miguel that's doing this. Yeah, Miguel is doing this spinning wheel. Yes, the spinner wheel. If you touch something, so you have to run inside that and you get up. Where's Elvis? He's in group 1. He already hit in the classroom. No, he didn't. Let me see.